Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the kitchen. On this episode of Get Your Grub On, we're gonna be doing a smoked mushroom and roasted duck risotto. Sounds fancy, but I promise you, not anywhere as difficult as it sounds. In front of us, we do have a few ingredients. Looks like a lot, I promise you, it's really not. For example, we got a cup of arborio rice, a half cup of shredded Parmesan cheese, 1 cup of white wine, about a quart of chicken broth, along with an onion, a couple tablespoons of minced garlic, some butter. I do also have a roasted off duck. I'll show you how to mess with that here in a bit. Of course, the stars of the show today are our mushrooms. For example, we have lion's mane mushrooms, baby bellas, shiitakes, and a mix of beach mushrooms. Now to smoke all that off, we've got our smoking gun. We're gonna use some applewood chips. We're just gonna have some fun. Are you all ready to do this? Excellent. Let's have some fun. Okay, first thing that we wanna do is we're gonna put our mushrooms into a container so that way we can get a good smoke on them. With our beach mushroom, we're gonna leave the roots on and then we'll cut that off towards the end. With our creminis, we're just gonna get a wet paper towel and we're just gonna kind of wipe them dry, get a little bit of that excess dirt off, and then we'll add these to our container. The shiitakes, you're gonna try to peel off that little bit of stem, and we're gonna put these off to the side because we're not gonna smoke the shiitakes. Now you wanna remove the stem because these are just chewy and you can't do much with them. All right, in order to smoke this, we are going to wrap this up with plastic wrap as best as we can. We're gonna turn our smoking gun on and light this up. Now we're just gonna let this sit. We'll probably smoke it again here in about 15 minutes. Let all that flavor marry into our mushrooms. And of course, with every recipe, y'all know I love to use diced up onion. So let's dice this up. With our shiitakes, we're just gonna get a quick little mince on them because you want a little shiitake in every bite of your risotto. Now it's time for us to start getting a little cooking going. So let's do that. First thing we wanna do, get a tablespoon of butter, let that melt. Next, we're gonna add our onions to the pan, our garlic. We'll let that all kind of sweat down with our mushrooms. You're just gonna wanna cook these down till they're soft, translucent, and sweated through. I'd say about 4 minutes, give or take. Now for our duck, we're just gonna kind of rip this off a little bit. We're gonna rip the wing off. And with this breast right here, we're gonna clean this up a little bit. And we're just gonna slice it and try to keep it all together. Put that off to the side. The meat from the wings and the leg, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna clean this up. And we're just gonna take this off and try to get rid of as much cartilage as possible. And then we're just gonna kind of cut this up into small pieces and have this on standby so we can add that to our risotto after it's done cooking. Now this duck, I actually found it roasted at the grocery store, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, why didn't you make it from scratch? Show us how to do it. Well, the reason why I didn't do that was because A, we can make another video of me showing you how to do a roasted duck, but B, I just thought it was cool and I wanted to try to incorporate it with something. So that's why we're going with this. Before you blow me up in the comments, I just wanted to point that out to you, okay? We will make a roasted duck, but not today. So So what we did here was we cryovac our duck breast with a little bit of some butter. We're gonna sous vide this, let it sit in a water bath until it's nice and warm, so that way we can focus on everything else. All right. Now, before we add our arborio rice, I just wanted to point out to you, we're not gonna rinse this off. Now, you can rinse off your rice whether you're making like Mexican rice, basmati rice, but the reason why I'm not doing this is because you want those starches to be there, because risotto is a good silky, velvety dish, and you want those starches in here. Otherwise, it's not gonna be smooth like it could as the starches cook out. That's why we're gonna toast this off, and then we're just gonna start adding our broth and liquids to it to cook this down. All right, everything's kind of cooked down. It's translucent, it's soft. And now we're gonna start adding our rice in so we can get a little toast on that. And then we'll continue cooking our risotto. At this point, we have a nice toast on our rice and everything. We're gonna start adding our white wine and cook this all down, stirring it constantly to get the starches working. And here, you just want to stir it as much as you can until all this wine evaporates. Okay, you can see how this is dried out now. It's absorbed. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get some warm chicken broth. We're gonna add this and continue to cook this down until it gets to the texture that we want. So this will take about 15 to 20 minutes. At this point, we can start to cook off our mushrooms and just let them delicately get some colors on them. So we can add this to our pan more towards the end. Okay, at this point, you can still see in the center, it's still kind of white. So we still have some room to cook. That way we can have our rice cooked off completely, but we're almost there. We've gotten to a point where our rice is starting to cook down. We're gonna start to add our Parmesan cheese, mix that in, and let that continue to cook down. Now we're at the point where we can start to add some of our duck and let that all heat up and mix in with our risotto. And just mix it in until it's fully incorporated. And at this point, we can also start to add some of these smoked mushrooms. Save a little bit off to the side so that way you have some nice garnishes. That's where we're at. The last thing that we're gonna do before we start plating up, we're going to season this. I added some green onions and a little butter. We're just gonna mix that all in together. And now, let's plate this up and have dinner. In order to plate this, we're gonna get a couple mushrooms around the plate. You can get whatever you want. Then in the middle of the plate, we're gonna carefully spoon our risotto right in the center. And notice how we have a ton of mushrooms, so it's gonna have a lot of umami. What you want to do? So you want to get your duck breast. I like to just kind of press down on that, make sure it doesn't move around. We're gonna get a little bit more of our shredded Parmesan cheese, and last but not least, some green onions that were cut on the bias, and we're done. Are you ready to eat? Because look at that, and look at that. Beautiful, let's eat. This meal altogether, screaming umami. The mushrooms have a good little smoke on them to where you can get that flavor. The duck, of course, is delicious, but that risotto, wow, cooked perfectly. It's velvety, it's out of this world. Took a little bit of time, but totally worth the wait. Regardless, hope you learned something today. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. Also, check me out on Facebook, Chef Steven Gonzalez, Instagram and TikTok, Chef Stegons, or go to chefstevengonzalez.com, get a copy of my cookbook, Get Your Grub On. and we're gonna catch you later. Get back to eating because this is really, really good. Let me know if you try it and how it works out for you, and we'll catch you next time.